When Hanli, a late-stage nascent soul cultivator, saw Zi Ling toasting someone else at the nascent soul elder's concubine taking ceremony, he was completely petrified. His dream girl, whom he had longed for, was going to marry an old man and become someone else's 3,001st concubine. Having cultivated for over 500 years, Hanli was thrown into disarray for the first time in front of everyone, a surge of resentment welling up inside him. I may be of average appearance, he thought. How could I lose to a lecherous old man? What's this girl thinking? Has cultivating immortality ruined her brain? So, Hanli steeled himself and made a bold decision he would disrupt Zi Ling's wedding. At that time, Hanli had just been staking out the entrance of the Yinluo sect for over half a year, only to be hunted down by the old demon Feng for over a month after the sect leader and a group of nascent soul elders had died. Just as he was getting impatient and preparing to confront the nascent soul stage expert head-on, xianxia intervened and resolved the conflict. He even invited Hanli to make an exception and join the human realm nascent soul alliance, standing on equal footing with other nascent soul cultivators to jointly maintain order in the human realm. The implication was that from this moment on, Hanli could no longer engage in acts like the massacre of the Yinluo sect. Having already collected the Ghost Luo banner, Hanli, seeing his senior brother's obvious favoritism, naturally agreed. So the three of them happily went to attend the concubine taking ceremony hosted by the nascent soul stage expert, Old Demon Hu, and incidentally introduced Hanli to this future partner who would be smuggling him into the spirit realm together. Unexpectedly, this trip brought Old Man Hu a formidable rival in love, resulting in an embarrassing scene of a bride stealing contest in front of hundreds of guests. When Old Demon Hu first met Hanli, he showed him no respect whatsoever, ignoring him completely and saying to xianxia and Old Monster Feng, "Are you too senile? This kid is only in the late nascent soul stage. What right does he have to sit on equal footing with us?" However, xianxia told him that Hanli had an unusual relationship with Fairy Linglong, possessed much spatial node information unknown to them, and that Hanli had recently killed a group of nascent soul elders from the Yinluo sect. Hearing this, Old Demon Hu's expression softened somewhat. This old demon, having lived for over 2,000 years, was naturally adept at navigating social situations. Since he needed a favor, he immediately became extremely polite, arranging for Hanli and his group to sit in the VIP section of the first row. Those attending the wedding banquet were all renowned cultivators of the great Jin dynasty. Late nascent soul stage cultivators were everywhere, and mid-stage cultivators were as common as dogs. When these people saw Hanli, a late nascent soul stage cultivator, sitting in the first row alongside nascent soul cultivators, they all began to whisper amongst themselves. Only after everyone learned that the late-stage nascent soul grand elder of the Yinluo sect and others had died at Hanli's hands did no one dare to utter a sound, fearing to offend this ruthless star. In fact, their fear of Hanli was not without reason. In the mortal realm, once one enters the nascent soul stage, they are bound by the spiritual energy of heaven and earth. Fighting anyone shortens their lifespan, making them constrained in everything they do. But Hanli is different. At the late-stage nascent soul stage, his strength is on par with that of a nascent soul cultivator, and he is not bound by the spiritual energy of heaven and earth. Even destroying another Yinluo sect would be a piece of cake for him. His terror level definitely exceeds 10 stars. After everyone took their seats, the ceremony officially began. Old Demon Hu couldn't wait to call out 3 beauties to toast the guests, showing off his collection. The 3 concubines he was going to take were not only all at the early stage nascent soul stage, but their beauty was unparalleled. Especially one of them, even Old Demon Hu had lived for over 2,000 years, had never seen such beauty. The other 2 stunning women standing beside her were like green leaves, mere embellishments. But when everyone noticed Hanli's reaction, the entire hall fell silent. Hanli remained expressionless, his gaze fixed intently on Zi Ling. He never dreamed he'd come to drink at the wedding of his dream girl. Zi Ling, upon seeing Hanli, broke into a rare smile, her expression shifting from initial excitement and elation to bewilderment. This scene made Old Demon Hu's heart skip a beat. This little beauty hadn't smiled once since he'd captured her. It seemed there was definitely something going on between these two. The youngest of all the guests were ancient beings who had lived for hundreds of years. Everyone could see what was happening. Yet, no one spoke, all waiting to see the drama unfold. Then, Old Demon Hu broke the silence, instructing Zi Ling to pour Hanli a cup of wedding wine, implying that regardless of their past relationship, this cup would be the end of it. But Han Li seemed not to hear, completely disregarding the guests, and looked directly at Zi Ling, asking, Miss Zi Ling, I can see that someone has placed a restriction on your body. Did you willingly marry Brother Hu as his concubine? Is that even a question? Zi Ling's actions were certainly not voluntary. This old demon who was notorious for his lust over 2,000 years old, he had 3,000 concubines, each more beautiful than the last. Han Li had precisely targeted this, which was why he made his bold decision. He directly sent a telepathic message to the old demon, offering to exchange a great treasure for Zi Ling's freedom. He was betting that the old demon who wouldn't fight him to the death for a concubine, those who had lived for so many years at the nascent soul stage, all valued their lives immensely. However, the old demon who was clearly unconvinced and quietly inquired of old monster Feng how many immortal slaying pearls Han Li possessed. Upon learning there was more than one, he sat back down. It seemed a direct confrontation was not an option. He then asked Xianxia if Han Li had handed over all the spatial node information. Upon seeing that old demon who intended to harm his junior brother Han, Xianxia showed no mercy, directly rebuking him. Fellow Taoist Hu, I think you've lost your mind. We've lived for over 2,000 years, what use is face? Are you going to give up your chance to ascend to the spirit realm for a concubine? If you harm him and lose the spatial node information, I will never let you off. This scolding immediately brought old demon Hu to his senses, calming him from his rage. This old fellow had probably never suffered such an injustice in his life. It was his wedding, and someone was trying to steal his wife in front of hundreds of guests, and he couldn't even turn against them. In the end, Han Li exchanged a bottle of cold water and withstood an attack from old demon Hu for Zi Ling's freedom. Actually, just a bottle of cold water was enough. It was the main ingredient for refining the rejuvenating water, which could increase lifespan by 400 or 500 years, making it more tempting to old demon Hu than 3 concubines. But to save face, he challenged Han Li to a single blow, hoping to severely injure Han Li and salvage his reputation in front of the guests. Surprisingly, even using his newly acquired treasure, Han Li still easily parried his attack. Old demon Hu was true to his word. Since he couldn't marry Zi Ling, he would still take 2 others. Thus, Han Li took Zi Ling to another concubine-taking ceremony. The two then spent 3 months together in the wilderness. During this time, Zi Ling and Han Li finally couldn't suppress their feelings and slept together. However, one day 3 months later, Zi Ling suddenly left. She told Han Li that since he already had a cultivation partner, and she didn't want to be a concubine, she chose to leave alone. Han Li was left standing there, watching Zi Ling's departing figure with a look of reluctance, muttering to himself, "This is probably what they call being destined to meet but not to be together."